Hey guys, what's going on? Hello, hello. We're starting our stream now. Oh gosh, hi. Steve is popping in. He says hello. Steve, come on and say hi. Aw, he didn't really say hi. He just kind of just busted in and just laid right there. It's really cold in my house right now, so he's wearing his little pupper jacket that we got him. So cute. All right, so I zoomed out the camera a little bit more so we're not so close to each other. Let me know how that is. I don't know. It's not that much of a difference, to be honest. But I just wanted to go over some really quick stuff really quick because they popped up on my feed. And I want to revisit something that we talked about yesterday. And so I think it'll be really interesting. But hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? I just did my, let's see. Discord message looks good. Streaming on the right platform. I hope everyone's been doing well. There was something that I wanted to watch yesterday, but I think... Let me see. Let me go through my list really quick. There's something that I wanted to watch yesterday, but we might do it a different day. Because I think that one's about like maybe an hour long, maybe about like 30, 40 minutes maybe. Hi, Michelle. Good morning. Hello, Sal. Hello, hello. Yeah, it's still morning over here, isn't it? Hi, Marisa. Oh, that's a pretty name. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But I have a couple of just like small stuff here and there that I just wanted to watch with y'all. They're all related to the Murdaugh stuff. And then I did mention there was like a little snippet that I found somewhere on the internet that had the, oh, it was on Fit News. It was the full hearing Boat Kate civil court case back from like 2022. So actually, that's not even that long ago. That's like 6 months ago. Can you guys believe it? We're already, well, okay, it's already March, but I feel like it's going to quickly be June. And then by that time, we'll be like halfway through 2023. And then it'll be 2024. Like time is just going by so fast. It's crazy. Hi, Taxi. How are you doing today? Hi, Corgi. I thought you covered the NAILTECH. Absolute bombshell in my book. Yeah, I mean, I take it with a grain of salt, but it is kind of interesting. Because we did have a lot of people surrounding, you know, Maggie and Alec, and they're like, yeah, they were like happy, loving, lovey-dovey at sometimes, you know. But yeah, the NAILTECH, I actually do want to talk about that. However, the NAILTECH was not called to the stand though. But I guess I understand the explanation. But again, I would just take it with, I guess, you know, maybe just a grain of salt, because it is true. It's all like, you know, there's no way to really substantiate it. There's no text messages, right? No concrete thing that Maggie said this. But I did want to talk about it because I thought it was interesting. Hi, Brandon. How are you doing today? It's okay. Kayla. We're covering it all right now. So I got a couple of Murdaugh related stuff that I want to talk about. And then yesterday, I talked about Randy Murdaugh, but honestly, I should have just read the article because I think I watched like a recap of it. It was like a quick 1 minute recap. I should have just read the article because the article had way more details. So we gonna do that because I have a New York Times like free subscription. I was like, yes. I could read the article. I hate it when there's like a paywall and I can't get to it. So I have to rely on other people's like summary and all that stuff. But yeah, guys, what is up? Hello, hello. Yesterday, I just want to recap a little bit. So yesterday we watched some videos. We covered some of the jurors' perspective on the case. So far we have a total of 4 jurors that have came out and spoken so far. We had dude number 1 who was like very chill, a very interesting guy, kind of just like, you know, a little bit of a monotone dude. And he was the one that said that he believed he saw no tears whatsoever on Alec Murdaugh. All he saw was like, what do you say, like snot and boogers or something like that? The guy is just kind of like a very like, like the way he talks is just kind of interesting. And then a couple days afterwards, we had 3 jurors that came out. So I don't think did they ever tell them their names? I only know 1 juror because Anjanette kept saying his name was like Joe or something, right? Or am I just thinking Joe because he kind of looked like the guy from You? I feel like she said his name was Joe, but I could be wrong. But we had 3 jurors that showed up on the Today Show, and they gave their perspective as well. And it's kind of interesting to see what's going on behind, like, you know, the jury deliberation, because we don't get to see that, right? And what we found out about that was that even though they weren't allowed to take notes while the trial was in session, I guess they were allowed to go back during break time and like jot some notes and questions here and there. So yeah, so we got to know about that. I found it hilarious how she said SLED had been desperate when they interviewed her. I found her quite credible. She doesn't have too much to gain and some to lose. Yeah, I just always take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know too much about the person. But it's just like, oh, that's interesting news. Okay, more interesting news, more interesting news. But I feel like it would absolutely, the NAILTECH, what she had to say, it would further bolster what Blanca said. Because, Blanca did say that her and Maggie had a private conversation where Maggie wanted to confide her. She was like, hey, let's go into the hunting room. Alec is like sleeping in the room next door or something like that. She closes the door. They have a chat. And she's like, yeah, I feel like Alec is just not being, forthcoming with me. I feel like he's like hiding things about our finances and stuff like that. So that was one thing that Blanca brought up. And then also additionally, Blanca also mentioned as well that when this was after Paul and Maggie were already murdered, but Alec wanted Blanca to clean out Maggie's car, and she said that she found like one of her like a wedding ring or something underneath the car seat, which is kind of weird as well because that's not really where wedding rings are supposed to be found. I feel like if a wedding ring is found underneath your car seat, that means like you took it off and you just like threw it in a fit, and yeah, so that was that as well. The kennel video screwed him. There's, there are some, like, the kennel video was a huge one, but there were so many things that were just against him, it was just like, even if they didn't have the kennel video, like, I thought about this, even if they didn't have the kennel video, he still would have been so screwed. But yeah, the kennel video screwed him so much because he had to go finally, after sticking to, one sort of version of the story of him not being at the kennels at all and him taking a nap and going to his mama's house and stuff like that. Finally, when everyone testified saying, that's his voice, 100% confident. Yep, that's him. When he finally took the stand, he's like, yeah, that's me. But I thought it was really interesting because remember when they were doing the opening statements, like Jim, Harpootlian, whatever, they were up there. And then I think Harpootlian was like, well, he may or may not have been at the kennel. And then kind of just like skirted away from that and then started talking about something else. So I feel like I got to rewatch the opening statements because especially the defense's opening statement, because they had a lot of things to work with because stories were just changing left and right. And it was just a whole effing mess for them. So yeah, the math wasn't mathin' with this story. Yeah, I'm assuming math wasn't his strong suit possibly because even though he constructed a new timeline of, well, you know what? Fine, I was at the kennel. I guess I did take a shower and I guess I did change my clothes. Well, your new timeline that you gave us, it's super tight, and the details that he fed us are details that didn't even really matter. It was like details about the dog collar, the chicken, and what happens when there's a chick in the dog's mouth. You got a claw open and all that stuff. But then they're like, well, what was the last thing you said to your wife? And he's like, well, I mean, if I did say something, it would have been like, I'll see you at the house or something like that. And it was just like, there's just something about that that's just really off. So a lot of like ding ding dings going on in my head. Hey, no one. Oh, what's up, Moondog? Moondog, is that a little corgi profile picture? Oh, that's so cute. Hello. Okay, if there is an appeal, I hope that either SLED or maybe journalists will track down the attorney she may have to discuss divorce with if they sink the happy, intact family BS like the Titanic. So I guess like a couple things about that. Even though Maggie is now deceased, wouldn't they still have attorney-client privilege, right? I don't know. I feel like she still would. So, I think that even if they were to somehow track down this attorney, maybe look at her bills or something like that, I don't think the attorney would be able to say anything. Isn't there still attorney-client privilege? I don't know if that ever expires or not, but I'm assuming that still holds. So that's one. And then two, I was thinking about this too. So it seems like people that were, was in Maggie's bubble, but maybe people that weren't like family members. Because I think like maybe with family members, since they're so close and stuff like that, she didn't want to talk about the divorce. They're so close with each other. She didn't want word getting out, especially to Alec and stuff. And maybe she wanted to, make it seem like to other family members that they were happy and things were good and she didn't want to stress them out. But I can see why Maggie, if she couldn't confide in her like direct family members, why she would want to confide into like people like maybe like the nail technician or like, Blanca, who's been working for her for like many years. Language of horses. Greetings. Hi, hi. Alex's new mugshot is something he's still smiling in them. Oh, you're talking about you guys mentioned this yesterday, I think. Like they had to shave his head, right? And do the new mugshot or something. Yeah. I don't know. He looks scary. Like Alec with no hair looks kind of scary. I'm glad that when he went to trial he had hair because I felt like he looks more like Thugnificent with no hair. Randy by the firewood. Yeah, so we talked about, okay, we didn't talk about it, but like we watched a video, a very quick video of Randy's interview with New York Times. And honestly, I just want to read it because I felt like the video that we watched, it was just like a quick little summary, but I think the article says way more. So do you want to start with that? We can start with the article and then we'll work our way a little bit afterwards because, you know, I had some videos that showed up on my feed and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. So I definitely want to share it. This stream won't be long or anything like that. You know, we don't have 8-hour court days, thank God, anymore. But we're just going to do some short streams here and there. There's new news that pops out. You guys can send it to me on Discord. Let me know. We have a Discord. If you guys want to join, feel free. There's like a true crime section. You're welcome to share anything true crime related on there, anything about this case, whatever. And then, you know, maybe I'll talk about it on stream. But I have New York Times subscription. So let's start with that. Can you guys hear Steve? He's got his bone back there. He's got his bone back there ready to interrupt my stream as always. So remember, guys, while we're watching the trial, you know, we started realizing, hey, where Randy at? Who's over there back there? I see Lynn, Alex's sister, which I actually don't know where Lynn is within the sibling hierarchy. So Randy right here, he's the oldest, and he is the legacy, I would say, of the Murdaugh family because I think he inherited the Randolph name. It's like Randolph Murdaugh, and he's like the third, the fourth, or the fifth, or something like that. I don't know, one of those numbers. I don't know which one, but he's one of those numbers. And so he's like the legacy of the family. And, you know, like he must be what I also didn't realize, but he also worked at the law firm where Alec was, the law firm that, you know, their family had built up. And he was one of the partners. And apparently he was also one of the people that also confronted Alec Murdaugh, his younger brother, of stealing. So, like, I can't imagine just like, this is the oldest brother here. And he's like, probably the one to continue the family legacy, right? He's inherited the Randolph name. And then you have your younger brother that's just fucking things up for you. Like, I think that our speculation was correct because, you know, when the trial was going on, we're like, oh, Randy, you over there? I don't see Randy over there. I see Lynn. I see, what's his name? James Marvin. What's his name again? John Marvin, the youngest brother. And then we see Buster's girlfriend, and then like I don't know if there's other family members there, but I don't recognize them. But like we're starting to not really see Randy, and I was like saying that like, man, I feel like Randy stopped coming after Alec testified, and I wonder if it was that day where they mentioned that Alec had stolen a check that was meant to go to Randy. So Alex took that check, cashed it out. But then he was like, oh, excuse me, accountant, I lost a check. Can you make me another copy? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? He gets another like copy of the check. And then like apparently he like holds on to it and it doesn't cashes it until months later. So I always thought that story was kind of funny because I'm like, damn, this dude is really cunning. He took his brother's check, knew that people weren't going to double check it, and then he stole that money twice. Like, oh my God, this guy, almost a genius. Oh, what is a Discord? Oh, okay. So if you guys don't know what Discord is, Discord is just basically another, like, it's like a community thing. Like, you know how they have Reddit, but Discord is like, there's different, it's like my community, right? And I have different, I don't know, what do you call them? Like different threads where you can talk about things in certain topics. And then sometimes you can do like voice chat in there. And then sometimes people stream games in there. I don't know. How do you describe Discord? Discord is just basically, a lot of content creators will have their own Discord. It's just basically a place for, you know, for everyone to gather together. So, yeah. Randy's not really buying Alex's lie. And you know what? And I was speculating that I was like, man, I wonder how long the Murdaughs are going to try to, you know, how long are they going to huddle around Alec, like forever? Like, are they just really just going to protect their legacy and that's all they care about? And it's like protect your family until forever, you know, and then just have the loyalty, blah. But I'm glad that Randy's speaking out because I was like, man, like it's just wild to me to see family members sticking together no matter what. And sometimes that's a good thing, but like when it comes to like when your family like done messed up, like no, like I don't know, like that sense of blind loyalty is just kind of like, it's just blah to me. But let's talk about Randy. Randy's over here. He's breaking his silence. He's he's the oldest Murdaugh family, and I think I believe he's 2 years younger than Alex, and I don't know what the age gap is with them and John Marvin, the one that testified. And again, Randy did not testify in the stand. I don't know why. The Randy guy came across much more grounded than Alex from the article. However, on Twitter, someone speculated the article was part of a PR effort at salvaging reputation. Yeah, I mean, even if it was like a speculation that he was trying to salvage his reputation, I don't care. I don't really care. I mean, but I could also sympathize that, he has a lot that he had to deal with because his younger brother messed things up so badly. Yeah, I used to ask a lot of Randys in the courtroom. Yeah, I'm like, where you at? I just felt like he just stopped showing up back there. All right, guys. So we have breaking silence. Murdaugh brother says, not knowing is the worst thing. After Alex Murdaugh's trial ended in a conviction for the murders of his wife and son, his older brother Randy is still trying to understand what happened that night. I already kind of skimmed through this article, but there's this part where I was just like, oh my God, I wish this was mentioned in the trial, but it's okay. It's not really that big of a deal anyways, I guess, but I felt like it would have been like a moment. Hampton, South Carolina, on the surface, the lives of Alec Murdaugh and his older brother Randy appear to follow the same track. They were born 2 years apart, both went to University of South Carolina for college and law school, and then the two worked as partners at a family firm that had grown out of a century-old law practice founded by their great-grandfather. But even in college, it was clear they were different. Alex was briefly on the football team and a regular at college parties. Randy, a self-described hometown boy, would go back to Hampton every week to hunt and fish. In recent years, the offices were close enough that Randy could hear his brother's constant phone calls, but they rarely spent any time alone together. It's not like there was some problem with our relationship necessarily, Randy Murdaugh said. We just really weren't alike, so we didn't do stuff together. Then came Alex's arrest in July 2022. So again, the murders happened in June 2021. Alec wasn't arrested until over a year later for the murder of his wife and son, amid expanding allegations that he had stolen millions of dollars from clients and the law firm, which forced Randy to question whether he had truly known his brother. A jury concluded last week, after less than 3 hours of deliberations, that Alex Murdaugh was guilty of the murders. But for Randy, there has been no such certainty. He has spent nearly every day for the past 20 months trying to understand what might have happened on the night that Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were fatally shot. In the first interview a family member has given since the trial, Randy Murdaugh said he had no doubt that his brother was a serial liar and a thief. And I did want to mention this as well, because like the people that believe Alec Murdaugh, they always come into like my channel and they'll spam the like, oh, just because someone's a liar doesn't mean they're a murderer. Yeah, duh. No one ever said that. Who is saying, oh my God, they're a liar? Yes, God damn it, they are definitely a murderer. No, that's not true, okay? There's so many other evidence that just poured in that proves that he was a murderer. It's not just like, oh my God, you're a liar. That means you're a murderer. No. I just thought it was really interesting that people would just use in order to defend Alec. I'm like, no one's saying that. He also said that he believed that Alex had not told the whole truth about what he knew about the killings. But asked directly whether he thought his brother carried out the murders, he said he still did not know. As a lawyer, he said he respects the jury's verdict, but he finds it impossible to picture Alex, a man he has known for decades as a protective husband and a father, pulling the trigger and inflicting the carnage that prosecutors describe as a crime of cold calculation. So, I mean, even though they're family, but here's the thing, sometimes you just don't know people very well, right? And it was pretty obvious with Alex that no one knew him. There might have been some people within his inner circle that knew his other side, the pill popping side or the money stealing side. But it just seems like this guy was really good at masquerading who he really was. So it doesn't surprise me that even Randy, a brother, wouldn't have even known, be like, oh, I can't imagine my brother doing this. I mean, and no one really wants to imagine their family member being capable of doing this as well, right? Hey, Arnoldo, how are you doing today? He knows more than what he's saying, Randy said. He's not telling the truth, in my opinion, about everything there. So I wonder if this quote right here is verbatim. So what I've learned recently is that sometimes when you get interviewed for articles, sometimes they kind of like move your words around a little bit. And sometimes like they might take a certain quote, but they misuse the quote for something else, and it sounds like you're saying something completely totally different. So I feel like sometimes when I read these articles, I'm like, gotta take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I'd rather hear like a video interview that's like unedited, but I know that it's not really a thing anymore. That's why I like watching like streams. For his entire family, he said, that has been amongst the most painful issue to confront. The not knowing, Randy says, is the worst thing there is. Randy's complicated view of the case, which he shared in a 2-hour conversation on Sunday as he stacked wood at his hunting property outside the town of Hampton, was at odds with the definitive pronouncement that one of the Alex Murdaugh lawyers made on Friday about the Murdaugh family. After 6 weeks of trial, this is what Jim Griffin said. I was like, Jim, I don't know. I was right too, because I felt like I didn't believe Jim, because I was like, I feel like Randy, the reason why he hasn't been showing up, I think he's changing his mind about his brother a little bit. So Jim Griffin, after 6 weeks of trial, they came away more convinced that he did not do this, and they are steadfastly in his camp and support him. Jim. The lawyer Jim said at the news conference after Alex was sentenced to 2 life prison terms. Alex Murdaugh's younger brother, John Marvin, testified. And surviving son, Buster Murdaugh, both testified for the defense at trial, saying that he seemed devastated after the murders. Randy Murdaugh. Okay, so I thought this was really interesting too. So Randy Murdaugh, who emphasized that he was speaking for himself and not any of his relatives, was not called to testify. He thinks it is possible no one put him on the stand because he did not align perfectly with either side. In the weeks after the murders, the family mobilized to support Alec. Exactly what he wanted. He wanted people to surround him, to mobilize, to gather, to give him sympathy and all that. So the family mobilized to support Alex, grieving alongside him as he suggested that Paul must have been targeted over his involvement in a fatal boat crash in 2019, a theory that Alec Murdaugh continued to push during his trial. Now, after 3 months after the killing, Randy said the other law partners called Randy in to look at some financial records that appeared to show, without a doubt, that Alex has been stealing from the law firm. Randy and another partner confronted Alex the next morning, he said. In a tense conversation in which Alex admitted to the embezzlement and revealed a serious addiction to painkillers. So I wonder, I have no doubt. I think Alex did take painkillers, but I don't think he was popping them. I don't know if he was seriously majorly addicted the way that he purports it to be, but I feel like the only reason why he brought the painkiller thing was just because he was trying to get his way out of it. Oh my God, they're confronting me for embezzling money. Oh, I have an addiction to painkillers, guys. I just need help. This it's not my fault, which Alex said prompted the thefts, which we already kind of don't believe because it's a lot of money. And it's people are like, where did the rest of the money go? Randy recalled that his brother seemed relieved to come clean. Alex promised that morning that he would never lie to him again. It took about 24 hours for him to break that promise, Randy said. When he told Randy and the police, oh my God, he lied to his brother about this too. So he told Randy and the police that he'd been shot on the side of the road by an unknown assailant. Again, trying to gain sympathy, trying to gain control of the narrative. In fact, the police later said Alex had asked someone to kill him. When that fact emerged, Alex claimed that it had been an attempted suicide, now changing the story again, telling the police that he had hoped that if his death was ruled a murder, it would allow Buster to collect on his life insurance. Now, over the next few months, as Alec Murdaugh was charged with stealing more than $8 million from the law firm and the clients, Randy said he came to his brother as a deeply flawed man and a liar. They have not spoken in nearly a year. Randy also said he began to think back. Oh, this is the part that I thought was like really important as well. So Randy said that he was thinking back on Alex's behavior in the first few weeks after the murders. At the time, it seemed like the police had few leads, and Randy began to call just about everyone he thought might help, asking if they heard anything to suggest why Maggie and Paul might have been targeted. He passed on whatever he heard to the police. This is a quote. I spent considerable time, day after day, for weeks on end, calling people, he said. But Alex, he said, never did, which we already thought that was weird behavior. Maggie's sister testified at trial to the same effect, saying she found it odd that Alex never talked about who might have been the killer. He did tell her, she said, that he imagined whoever had done so had thought about it for a long time. I honestly didn't really think too much about the thought about it for a long time quote, but I know some people did. They saw that and they're like, see, he's been planning this for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe he did. Oh, we have a little more. Okay, so we have Buster left Randy outside the courthouse in late February. So that's his sister, Buster's girlfriend, Buster, Randy, and maybe John Marvin in the back. That might be his head. That might be his outfit, his legs, his body, perhaps. Maybe. Before the murders, Randy has been content to live a relatively simple life, making a good living at a family firm, raising 2 daughters. Oh, yeah, I was wondering if Randy had any daughters or anything like that, or like sons, any kids. So he has 2 daughters and spending weekends outside hunting at an idyllic property just outside of Hampton. But much of that life has been ripped apart as international attention has been trained on the Low County region of South Carolina and his family now. Much of the Murdaugh family is focused on supporting Buster, 26, who has lost his entire immediate family. Randy is continuing at the law firm, including taking on a few of his brother's former clients. He feels the need to explain. Listen, I'm not him. I'm doing things the right way. Always have. I don't beat around the bush. Honestly, though, it would be tough for me. I wouldn't even want to deal with that law firm. I don't know, man. I'd be like, yeah, like, even though it might not have been you guys, like, I don't know how complicit you guys were, and, like, I don't know, I honestly would just, like, yoink my money out of there and just not even deal with them, but, maybe they got some deep ties, deep connections or something, and they really trust Randy and, like, the rest of the people who are left at the law firm, but, yeah, that's a tough fire to put out, especially when it's, like, someone that's a direct relative, your brother, who caused all of this. Cousin Eddie was supposed to die, be the fall guy. It just didn't go as planned. I want to know what's going on with Cousin Eddie. I haven't really heard too much about him. Wait, really? Lynn is the sister of the oldest sibling, the Murdaughs? Oh, I had no idea, Joy. Where did you read that? I was trying to figure out where Lynn was. But yeah, they only talked about the brothers. And they're like, well, there's also a sister, Lynn. I'm like, well, how old is Lynn? Like, is she the youngest, middle? Like, where's she at? Hey, Hugo. Unlike his siblings, John Marvin and Lynn Murdaugh Goatee, I don't know how to pronounce that. Randy did not attend every day of the 6-week trial in Waterboro. On one day last month, as Alex at a defense table, his every move scrutinized by spectators and people around the country watching on TV. Randy was standing before a judge in a nearly empty courtroom a short drive away. There in the Hampton County Courthouse, he was handling a settlement for a family that his brother had represented long before his embezzlement was exposed. In court, Randy took through each of the extra steps that he had taken to make sure the clients were not among those from whom Alec had stolen money. It was overkill, but I have to do that, Randy said. He said he never really expected the murder trial to offer him the definitive answer he had been looking for, but he had hoped that he might be able to stop his lawyer's mind from running through all the possible scenarios of what happened on that tragic night in June 2021. I hope that after the trial, because there's nothing more that can be presented, that I can stop thinking about this, but so far that has not been the case. So I think this article, we should have just read it from the get-go. There's way more information in here that wasn't covered. The firm was closed and doesn't exist anymore. I heard that they renamed the firm. So it's no longer PMPD. They renamed it to something else. But apparently they're still up and running. But that's from what I've heard. Oh, man. What are your guys' thoughts on Randy? Dude, that was a lot to talk. Let me grab some water really quick. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Well, not 2 seconds. 2 minutes. All right, guys. We'll continue in with the rest of it, and I'll be right back. Here you go. Y'all can look at Randy. So Randy over there chopping them wood. Oh, I can't find my water bottle. Is it in here? You guys see a water bottle around here? I feel like I'm so used to my water bottle straw thing. Oh, if you want to join the Discord, here it is. I do recommend either downloading on your computer or using on your phone, though. It's easier. There's like a browser version, but I don't use it. Hi. Oh my God. Rain, you're back. Hello. You're back from the Shadow Realm. That's your account, right, Rain? Welcome back. So I don't know why, but apparently yesterday there were a couple of people that couldn't. Well, they were chatting in my chat, but it wasn't showing for anyone else. So I'm glad that you're back now, Rain. Rain went on Discord, was like, can anyone see my message? Hello? Am I, like, did someone ban me? What happened? Okay, I think Randy had to face max shame after Alex's fraud. Not only was his credibility questioned, his brother literally ruined the whole family's legacy to dust. Yeah, it's tough for Randy. And so, you know, like, someone mentioned earlier that, like, oh, well, you know, Twitter said that Randy was only coming out with this article because it's like a PR statement. It's like, yeah, I can totally understand that. However, I could also understand why he was reserved about saying anything negative about his brother until the trial happened, because he believed the word of his brother the entire time, right? Like, oh, that he didn't do it, all that stuff. But then, like, as he sat through trial, he was like, wait a second. There are things that you didn't tell me, and there were new evidence that's being revealed, and that we have the OnStar evidence, right, that just recently came out with the GM thing. And so, you know, I don't blame Randy. Initially, sometimes people gather and support their family member, but then as they sit through trial, they're like, oh, well, I've been lied to. And I think that's exactly probably what happened here. I think that he had an inkling that his brother was lying, but he still had, you know, he still wanted to give his brother probably the benefit of the doubt, because that's family right there, right? You got like familial ties. And it's an emotional, you know, sort of relationship. Okay. A Cali lawyer who's been working for a lending company spent 10 millions of company funds on gambling and partying in Vegas. She created non-existent clients to get the money. Lawyers are wilding. Jesus. That's crazy. I mean, there's just people in general that are just really greedy like that, right? It's not just like lawyers only. But, man, you know what this, like, Alec Murdaugh also kind of reminds me of Tom Girardi. Now, Tom Girardi, not that we know of, like, you know, he hasn't committed any murders or anything like that. But Tom Girardi ran this successful law firm in Los Angeles, and he represented basically like a lot of victims and recovered money for them. But what he would end up doing is he would just be stealing money from the clients, and some of the clients even get their money. And these aren't just like, they're almost as bad as like, I think they're just as bad as Alec Murdaugh's victims. Some of these victims are part of like a plane crash, burns. They lost their mom, dad, family. There was like a pipeline or something, like gas pipe that exploded in a neighborhood, burned victims, people who died in that. And like some of those people didn't see a single dime because the lawyer who was supposed to be suing these companies and getting the settlement money, they weren't giving the money to the victims, like the money that was owed. It was so crazy. And then, so I followed this story because I really liked the woman that he was married to. I used to watch the Real Housewives, and Erica Girardi was like one of my favorites on there. She's batshit crazy now, though. I can't watch her anymore. But she was one of my favorites. And then like all of a sudden we saw the Hulu special come out, and I was like, wait, what happened? And then you find out how this guy who was like basically funneling, he basically had an empire and like all this money, and like his wife was really successful. They were flexing so much money. You find out that like a lot of the money was just being stolen from victims. And I don't know, it's just really crazy to see that go down. But what happened with Tom Girardi right now is that, all of a sudden, he's got some sort of, I forgot what it was, but like all of a sudden he's got some sort of like mental thing where he's incapable of being responsible for his actions or something. So like I wonder if it's really true, or if he just maybe wanted to get out of trouble and get like a sympathy sob story by saying that he's like incapable now. Because I think he's being like cared for in like, I don't know, it's like a nursing home or something. I don't know. Yeah, the new law firm name is Parker Law Group. That's what I heard too. I think that's correct. Hey, Jules. Hello. How are you doing today? What's going on? Did anyone have news of what happened on Bubba the Chicken Killer? Bubba has been sentenced to life in prison with Blanca, where he'll be happily forever, running around, eating all the good foods. Where were you? I got you a couple of People's Magazine, National Enquirer, a Weekly World News for you. Burn it all, Rain. Burn it. I see YouTube stopped shitting in the bed for some reason and actually run back in. Yeah, I don't know. They're back now, but welcome back. Hello. Hi, Bleep. How are you doing today? Tom and Alec's crimes are similar, right? I just can't help but think of Tom Girardi when I think of Alec Murdaugh. Of course, not just the financial stuff, though. Not everything else that happened, because obviously Eric Girardi is like still alive. But for the record, my husband's an attorney and he's the most decent person I've ever known. Oh yeah, definitely. There are always a small group of people who are just a rotten few, right? So you can't be like, oh my God, all lawyers are horrible people and they're all liars. Like I know people that are lawyers and they're decent people. So Erica was enjoying most of the money, enjoying the money and the lifestyle. Yeah, it's actually so crazy because I loved having her on The Real Housewives. I feel like she added like a nice, strong presence. But like, dude, once you see someone like backed into the corner, I feel like you just start seeing their true self. Because like, dude, after watching like the newest season, or maybe the second to newest season, I'm just like, damn, she's like, I don't know, I don't like her. Very I don't know, just didn't really like her. I'm good now that you're online. It's always nice to chat within the peeps here in chat. Yeah, I'm so glad to be popping in here with you guys too. So we're not going to stream long, but sometimes if I get some stuff, on my news feed, I'll hop into stream and share with you guys. So we covered Randy Murdaugh, and again, this is on New York Times. I thought this was a very interesting article. Small things that I wanted to cover that popped up on my feed, nothing too big. So this popped up as well for Buster.
Murdaugh hasn't spoken publicly since his father.
This is with Law and Crime and Jeanette Levy. So what's up with Buster Murdaugh nowadays? Let's see what he's up to.
Buster Murdaugh hasn't spoken publicly since his father was sentenced to 2 consecutive life prison terms for the murders of his mother Maggie and little brother Paul last week. But that hasn't stopped some media outlets from trying to catch a glimpse of him.
Buster, how often would you speak with your mom and dad on the telephone?
So this title says, Buster Murdaugh harassed and followed after father convicted of murder. I honestly thought he was being harassed by like normal, regular people who were just like after him because they hated what his father did. I was like, oh my God, that's so messed up. But then I found out, it's actually another group of people who are harassing Buster.
Daily basis.
When Buster Murdaugh testified for his father, that was the first and last time the public heard from him. Since last Friday's sentencing, some media has camped out in his neighborhood. On Monday, Buster Murdaugh filed a police report with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office after the New York Post published a photo of him inside his home.
Wait, Did they just publish his address? Oh my God. Shouldn't they blur that out?
taking pictures of him everywhere
Do they need to not blur that out? Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's not even the address.
he goes, even inside his home, is a huge violation of his rights. And I think it's criminal.
Attorney Sarah Ford followed the trial and represents crime victims in South Carolina. She does not represent any Murdaugh family members.
It's just capitalizing on an already existing tragedy. You know, Buster lost his mother and his brother, and now essentially his father, and is being stalked and harassed by media in his own home. You know,
Oh, yeah. That is so creepy. Oh, so creepy. Buster's hiding from the media. I heard they're taking pictures of him in his house. Oh, that's so creepy.
if he has a story to tell and he wants to tell it, then he'll do that when he's ready to do that.
Beaufort County Sheriff's deputies told Buster Murdaugh they would increase patrols in his neighborhood. Deputies also told him how he can go about filing for a restraining order, should he wish to do so. For Law and Crime, I'm Anjanette Levy.
Jesus, I don't know. That'd be tough. Ugh. Is it New York Times? Shit, should I not give them the view for this? Oh my, we're already on the website though. Whoops. Buster Murdaugh was spotted through a Why would they post this? Buster Murdaugh was spotted through a crack in the blinds of his Hilton Head condo. Oh my God. Jesus Christ, poor Buster. I don't know why they even posted that picture. That's so weird. Yeah, Buster's entitled to privacy in his own home. It should be illegal to publish such pictures. Buster's also low-key in the spotlight because of the Stephen Smith case. Not much is known about that, but some suspect has been involved with murdering him. Yeah, so I mean, like, honestly, like, I'm not going to give any, like, hate towards Buster or anything until, like, you know, if we get some more details that he was involved and there's evidence and all that. But until now, like, you know, I could only, like, sympathize for Buster. He's literally the sole heir to the family properties and the money now. I think Buster has something to do with his mom and brother's murder, but I'm so sure the kid who was found dead in the road. Creepy, awful. Yeah, very creepy. Okay, yeah, we all agree. Very, very creepy indeed. But honestly, though, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, people, don't harass Buster. Leave him alone. And then it's like, oh, harassed by news media. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. Next video that I wanted to talk about was that I thought was interesting. Maggie Murdaugh's former NAILTECH speaks to Court TV. So I wanted to watch this interview right here that Chanley Painter did. Because if you guys, okay, so the reason why the NAILTECH thing was brought up was because on the day that Maggie Murdaugh and Paul were murdered, before that, she was like in Edisto at the beach house. They were doing some remodels. She had people actively working in her house, and she didn't want to leave the house because people were there working. You know, usually you want to be there to supervise and make sure they're not, like, you know, lazing off and stuff like that. But then Alec gives her a call, says like, oh, my dad is sick. He wants Maggie and wants Paul to come back to Moselle. And, you know, Maggie didn't really want to because she was like, I got people here. I'm like, they're like working on the house. We're planning on like a party and stuff like that. But then she talks to her sister. Sister was like, hey, you should go support your husband. And I feel bad for the sister because, you know, you can tell she regrets it, even though it's not her fault. She didn't know. But the sister regrets it. Like, it was just really sad to see her on the stand. And she was like about to tear up. And so I think she goes to like a doctor's appointment or something like that. And then she goes to get her nails done. And the people were talking about like, oh, you know, later on, they're like saying like, oh, there was like unknown male DNA under Maggie's nails. And then they're like, well, you know, she was getting her nails done, or maybe she like touched a doorknob or something like that. There's ways to get like people's DNA underneath their nails without like being like sexually active with them. Cause I think a lot of people are alluding to that. Right. But yeah, so she went to get her nails done, and we didn't really hear anything about the nail tech, but Court TV, you know, they got a hold of this nail tech, and the nail tech apparently was gonna testify, but then they ended up not having her testify on the stand. So I think it kind of makes sense when they brought that up. Buster needs to start hanging moons out his windows. What kind of moons? I think no. I already read that. Okay, I agree. Much more information is needed about Stephen Smith's situation before one can safely come to any judgment. Yeah, I mean, so for now, like, I'm just gonna see Buster as a I'm gonna see Buster as a victim. And I know people are like, well, Buster cheated in law school. It's like, yeah, you know, honestly, I know a couple people who, you know, kind of skirted their way through college as well, you know, hired people to write their essays and stuff like that. So I honestly, like, I didn't think that was that big of a deal. But anyways, should you do it? Of course not.
Line 18, who is this text message from?
The text message.
This sled?
It shows the client or the chat ID is 1-803-942-1227.
Is that Alex Murdaugh?
Yes, sir.
And what is the time of this message?
The time of this message is June 7th, 2021, 11:05:55 p.m. To correct to minus UTC is going to be 7:05:55 p.m.
These days, cheating your way through school has never been easier. Dude, they got chat GPT, whatever it's called now, writing essays and stuff for people.
And what does the message say?
Paul says you were getting petty. Call when you get done.
And there are 2 exclamation marks after petty, correct?
Yes, sir, correct.
So in petty, you would understand here to mean pedicure?
Yes, sir. To the best of my knowledge, it is.
Just a petty, not a mani-pedi. I guess just a petty? I don't know. Anyhow, we know that sometimes if you go to that same nail technician, like going to the same hairdresser, sometimes you have conversations, they get to know you a little bit.
I'm going to be honest with you. I love going to people who don't like to have small talk. Those are my favorite type of people to go to because I hate small talk. Like the lady that colors my hair, she's like, hey, how are you? Oh, how's everything? Oh, any vacation? No? Okay. And then that's it. We don't talk for the rest of the time. And I fucking love her. And there's this other lady that used to do my nails, I think 5 years ago when I used to get my nails done. She was like this really cool Korean lady, but she was like very minimal in her conversation. I'm like, God, I love you. So I love going to people who don't like to talk. If they like to talk, I'm like, I'm never going to come back and see you again. You're really nice though, but I just don't like talking to you.
Chanley Painter today spoke.
Is anyone else like that too? Or am I just very like anti-talkative? I just don't like small talk, to be honest.
With the Maggie Murdaugh's NAILTECH, take a listen.
When you found out, what were your first thoughts as far as how and why and who was responsible?
Well,
Is audio okay? Should I turn it up a little bit? It's like a little bit low, right? Okay, let's redo this a little bit. I actually honestly thought they weren't going to reveal the NAILTECH's name because I was like, this is a really weird angle to be shooting. So I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't want to be on TV. Okay, that makes sense. I just like pillow talk. Shut up. I hate talking to anyone in general. Like I like short small talk, but like if I'm sitting there getting my hair did for like 5 hours, like please let me watch my anime, let me read my audiobook, whatever, or listen to my audiobook, let me read my book. Like I just don't like people bothering me. I just like I like doing other things. Like I like multitasking.
When you found out, what were your first thoughts as far as how and why and who was responsible?
well, when I recalled that she told me she was getting a divorce, I just assumed it was the husband because, in most cases, that's how it goes. And then little by little more started coming out with Paul and, just everything. And
Hold on a second. Let me close my door. Hey, quiet. No, no. Steve, go. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna actually replay that. Dennis went out and he forgot to put Steve in the room, and Steve gets a little bit yappy when he knows there's someone in front of our house. Hi, Brady or Brady. Oh, hi, Brady. How are you doing today? Let's go back. Sorry. Okay, last time. Uno más.
Take a listen.
When you found out, what were your first thoughts as far as how and why and who was responsible?
well, when I recalled that she told me she was getting a divorce, I just assumed it was the husband because, in most cases, that's how it goes. And then little by little more started coming out with Paul and, just everything. And we kind of put 2 and 2 together. And from the beginning,
But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's not enough details. So she mentions the divorce, but if you're already going to mention divorce to, you know, like an almost stranger, I feel like you would be comfortable enough to mention other conversations that would lead up to that divorce, right? Like she would complain like, oh, Alec is doing this, he's doing that, and I suspect this, I suspect that. I feel like you would just be like, oh, we might get a divorce. I don't know, right? Wouldn't there be like conversation leading up to like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then later on she's like, yeah, we might get a divorce. I don't know.
Assumed it was Alex. But like I said, we've heard different stories, so we weren't sure what to think.
And she said she's heard different stories. What kind of stories? What kind of stories did you hear? Tell me!
I'll call your next witness.
So, Aaron, you were actually subpoenaed.
I was. I had to talk to a couple of SLED agents. And
I actually love how relaxing this is. They got the music in the background. She's getting her nails done, but we're like talking about this like tea right now. Like, it's a very interesting ambiance.
I had to talk to a couple of SLED agents, and I believe he's the assistant to the attorney general. They wanted, just to know what I knew about Maggie and the things we talked about, and basically just what I knew about Maggie.
Okay, so tell us what you knew about Maggie. Also, I used to have this hair color, by the way. I don't miss colored hair.
They seemed pretty desperate when they were calling and asking around. I think that they had heard that Maggie told me she was seeking a divorce, is why they were so adamant at talking to me. She did tell me she was on Edison permanently. She told me she was seeking a divorce.
Okay.
She did mention one time that she was looking for some sort of investigator.
So why do you think they didn't?
Why did they cut it off like that? Isn't that so weird? I don't know, man. I feel like when they cut it off like that, it's because she said something else that wasn't as juicy, and so they had to quickly cut the conversation. I don't know if I trust this edit, man. Court TV. Isn't it kind of like all of a sudden?
One time that she was
really abrupt.
looking for some sort of investigator.
So why do you think they didn't actually call you during the trial? You said you were glad they didn't, but...
Yes, of course. I think it's because there was no way to prove anything. We could prove she was my client. We could prove she was there. But we couldn't really prove what she talked about with me and with Alex and all the family. Basically, everybody saying that they were in a happy marriage. The state basically told me that the defense would call me a liar, so there wasn't any sense in getting up there and testifying.
I don't know. Doesn't that kind of sound like it makes sense, but doesn't it kind of sound like weak though? It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't go up there anyways because they're just going to say you're a liar. It's like, well, you can kind of say it towards any witness that testifies, right? So, like, I guess maybe because all the family members, the close friends were like, oh, they were a loving, happy family relationship. But I don't know. I still thought it would have been important to have a nail tech to go up there and be like, yeah, she confided me in some stuff and she was looking to divorce. She was going to get an investigator and stuff. But I don't know. I'm thinking maybe there's another reason why they didn't put her up there.
Maggie was sweet. She was kind of a free spirit. She was always up for anything that was going on. She loved her family. She loved her boys. Buster and Paul were her world.
One thing about the trial that you mentioned is you don't think Maggie was really represented well as far as her memory and who she was.
She did get skipped over a good bit. I felt like she was made a victim, and she was much more than that. She was a mother, a friend, a loving wife, and I would love people to remember that because she loved people and was loved. She was much more than a murder victim.
How do you remember? I know she was your client for a while, and
she was always very happy. I always saw her with a smile on her face, even when she was having a rough morning and showed up in her pajamas. And, she was always smiling.
Maggie's sister's testimony made me sad. Yeah, it was really sad for her. I thought it was really sad. Why didn't she speak for her sister? I thought it was really weird too that no one did the victim impact statement. But I guess it could also be tough because you're doing it in front of other people. And then to compound that, it's being streamed to like hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe you don't want to go up there. But I don't know. I was just kind of sad how no one did the victim impact statement for Paul or Maggie, But, there were people that testified and had some like sob stories and stuff, right? There were some sad moments. But, yeah, I don't know.
She was always very happy, probably to be on Edisto, because, you know, she loved it. She always talked about going to the beach and talked about her boys coming down. I think my boys are coming down today.
No, you can see her roots right there. She looks like a brunette.
She gets very excited about that.
The state versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder. Guilty. Verdict.
I'm happy with the verdict and the sentencing, for sure. Whether he pulled the trigger or not, I believe that they are dead because of his actions. So I'm very happy with the verdict. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but
a lot of people agree with it too.
I know, but I do have a lot of people who disagree with it. Yes,
because you're in this community, and the Murdaugh name was so.
Yeah, and most of the people do agree with me, but there's every now and then we have that one person who is very adamant that he had nothing to do with this. It makes me wonder if maybe they know more.
Why is Chanley's blonde? I can't see her. Chanley, where are you? What is up with this camera angle? Can we make it? Maybe the room is too narrow or something.
Than we do. I don't know the Murdaugh family personally.
I don't see Chanley's face at all.
Tell you much. I know that they are very large figures in the political field here, and they usually get their way. That's the gist of what I know. They usually get their way.
All right, that's basically about it. The hands. Oh, she's not even in the room. Oh, yeah, that's about it. So I thought that was a really interesting too, having the Maggie's former NAILTECH do a little interview like that. I mean, I'm just gonna take what she said with a grain of salt, but I still think it was interesting because, you know, she kind of backs up what Blanca was saying, how Maggie had some suspicions, you know, maybe things weren't actually what it seemed, like maybe they weren't the happy family that everyone purported them to be. But yeah, I love this mug. It's from that movie, The Dinosaur or something. I forgot what the movie's called, but it's a really sad movie. It's about this little like cave duder. He runs into the dinosaur dude. They become friends. I think like they're both like orphans or something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, good movie. All right, what was the I don't know. What do you guys think about the NAILTECH? Any thoughts, any opinions or anything like that? I just thought it was interesting. It's just like, okay, you know, just like you hear something, you're just like, okay, I'll just like, you know, make a little cloud right here and I'll just remember it. But yeah. Is it called Dinosaur the Movie? That might be the name. It might be called Dinosaur the Movie. You think the NAILTECH is base? Holy mackerel, that's a mug. Yeah, dude, I have this mug, and then you should see my Sully mug. Disney makes like really cool mugs, but I haven't seen any really good big ones. I like big mugs like this because, like, why would you want a small dinky mug? Okay, I want a big old mug. I love big mugs. My drinks end up cold. Oh no, for warm like hot drinks, I always use my Yeti thing. Brady says she wanted her 5 minutes of fame. She said the obvious, nothing breaking. She may have an axe to grind with the Murdaughs. The stylists want to talk to figure out how much they can charge you. That's why they ask where you got your hair done before, etc. Oh, no, they usually have fixed prices. I always ask them, how much is it to do this? And I send them a bunch of pictures and stuff like that. But the NAILTECH seems to be like an authentic person, straight talk. My impression, yeah. For me, I don't know what to think. Just kind of like, I felt like, I don't know. I want to know why the defense didn't put her up on the stand. I could buy the reason that she said, like, you know, like maybe she'll just get discredited by all the family members and stuff, possibly. But yeah, she seems kind of like a chill person. Remove from watch later. What else is in my title again? We had Buster, we had Randy, we had the NAILTECH, and first responders. I think I wanted to watch this one. So not the juror one, because we've already seen his reaction. We've already seen the juror reaction. Oh, are these the first responder? Oh, yes! They testified on the stand. Okay, I actually do want to listen to what they say. I think Kenneth Kinsey gave an interview too, which he thought it was... Dude, Kenneth Kinsey goes up there and he's like, dude, I had people contacting me and even they were like, there's no way a bullet can travel one direction and then all of a sudden just 180 out the same way. Oh, dude, Kenneth Kinsey is so funny. Maybe we should watch the interview. It's a weird room arrangement and / filming. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Hello, Vinny. How are you doing today? Vinny Politan.
I will defend SLED a little bit on this because I know that the big thing has been why didn't they go straight to the house with the search warrant and search the house? And we don't know exactly. As Laura said, we left and there was a new team taking over. I don't know what they saw exactly that steered them in the direction they went. Yeah. But I will tell you this, they got 3 interviews out of Alex. 3 interviews that were able to look at his body language, were able to take the stories that he got that don't match up. One of the biggest pushes in the trial was that he lied. And we eventually got him to come clean on the stand. And we have 3 opportunities recorded of him being interviewed by agents in regards to that lie. And every one of them had an opportunity to come clean, he didn't. Had we treated him like a whole suspect that night, if we'd have gone in and tore apart the house and drilled him as a suspect as opposed to a caller, he's an attorney. You don't think that we'd have called back the next day and say, hey, we need to do a follow-up, and I'm telling you, it would have shut down. And that may have been part of their plan. I don't know completely, but I can see very clearly that, I mean, every time we talked to him, he had an attorney friend with him. If we'd have pushed that.
Like that one attorney friend that he had with him, useless, okay? That attorney friend should have been like, yo, Alec, we gotta get out of here. Tell them your stomach is hurting or something. We had some Taco Bell earlier. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't know why that attorney friend let Alex sit there for 2 damn hours plus. The doggies say hi. Connor Miley at sentencing. Connor is the one that they accused, right, of driving the boat. Which one was Miley again? Was she one of the best friends to Mallory Beach? My dogs are saying hi to you. That's why they're barking. Like, hey, what's up, YouTubers? What's going on? No, they wouldn't go to his parents' house that night. He was a DA for many years. He was hospital. His wife had Alzheimer's, had all the power at his own house full of county top citizens.
Talked to him, he had an attorney friend with him. Yeah. If we'd have pushed that envelope the first night, we'd have had 1 interview, and it would have been cut short, and we would not have had the other 2 to use to compare those stories.
What a great point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What a great point. Because remember, this case was really built on the words of Alec Murdaugh more than anything else. And the approach and the use of the way they went about this investigation really helped build it. Let's bring back in Matt.
Yep, Jody trying to crawl through the doggy door again. Damn it, Jody.
Harris, host of the Murdaugh Family Murders Impact of Influence podcast. And that's really a great point here. You know, you want to attack. And by the way, in every single trial I've ever covered, the defense always attacks the investigation. It's never done well, folks, according to the defense. Never done well. Yet every time they seem to be able to figure out who did it, right? So, Matt, let me ask you about what he just said there. The way SLED did the interviews allowed them to get more interviews with Alec and get more words from him, words that ended up being used against him.
Well, if that was their plan, and
it wasn't their plan. He's just speaking after the fact, like, oh, you know what, it was gonna work out that way anyways because we got more interviews out of him. But had they actually thought that he was a suspect from the very beginning, dude, they would have like staked outside and watched his every move for the next couple of days, right? See if he ever disposes any evidence, guns, bloody stuff.
May have well been, and the interview, okay, maybe that's what you're doing, but to not go to his mother's house still seems like it's going to be hard to convince me that that was a good choice, or that was some sort of trickery that they were trying to do by not going to look at the place where he said he was at the time of the murders, or to, you know, when they were going through the house, they talk about Sled doing it quietly with John Marvin, I believe, was taking him through, and he'd show him some different places, wherever a gun could be, but he never talked about, you know, they didn't look in the drain, and that doesn't explain that. But, you know, here's some points.
Absolutely. All right, Matt, hold on a second. We've got a special guest joining us from Walterboro, South Carolina tonight. One of the jurors from the trial, James McDowell, joins us. James,
oh, that's
great to see you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, that's so short. That's it? I thought the interview was going to be a lot longer. Oh, and his name is James, not Joe. Okay, so this interview must be pretty long then, is it? I mean, we've already heard him like 2 times already. I don't think I think we good, right? Randy's still at the firm. He has to separate himself, but what he says seems believable. Hey, Grace, how are you doing today? How's it going? I wonder too, after listening to the 911 call for the housekeeper, I can't help but wonder if Maggie was a bit strange too, or maybe she was just under Alex's thumb and following his order. Wait, what was wrong with the 911 call? Maggie was strange? How was she strange in the 911 call? I think I have the 911 call around here. Let's see. I think we watched Mark Tinsey, right? We watched this one already. Jesus. What's going on in Mexico? Oh, I wanted to watch this one right here. This one.
But it was the death of Mallory Beach that seemingly set off the epic unraveling of Alec Murdaugh that led to all of this. Mallory lost her life in a boat crash.
Hello, AF. Thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate it. No victim impact statements for crime families. Why did I read it like that? Ignore it. Wait, where's my alert? Oh, it's probably coming soon. There you go. Thank you for the 10. I do appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Randy has one foot out the door. He'll be gone in 6 months. What do you mean he'll be gone in 6 months? Okay, so in the 911 call for the housekeeper, she sounded very annoyed by the dispatcher trying to get them to help the housekeeper. Yeah, Maggie sounded a little insensitive to me. Joined her 911 call for her. Wait, let me see. Okay, let me let's watch this, and then do you guys have a link to the 911 call? I might have it.
In 2019, while Paul was driving drunk. The lawsuit that followed threatened to expose Alec Beach family. The courthouse said that he snapped.
You know, I don't know that he said it. I came up just, I think, as he was finishing the discussion. And Philip had always said that his daughter wasn't going to die in vain. There was a greater good going to come out of this. And so, you know, they take a lot of comfort in the fact that a lot of people have been helped in all of the things that have been exposed in the investigations that have followed. And they continue to hope that there'll be more accountability in everything that went on, the investigation of the investigation into the criminal case, as well as the actual death of Mallory Beach in the civil case.
So Paul Murdaugh is obviously dead. Is there any other legal actions that can be taken in Mallory's case in terms of getting her family some justice?
Yeah, I could have sworn that Mark Tinsley said they were still going to go to court or trial or something in the other interview that happened a couple days ago. So I was a little confused about that because I thought there was a settlement and I thought they were done.
Well, you know, the justice that we're seeking is accountability and hopefully some change in terms of the sales of alcohol, people turning a blind eye. There's a lot of willful blindness in all of this Murdaugh mess. And you know, so that's the justice I think that we can get in Mallory's case. No, but you know, when I was on the stand, Creighton Waters asked me about some testimony I gave to the state grand jury that was looking into the criminal investigation. There's some people out there in law enforcement that were involved in that investigation that were the subject of that investigation by the state grand jury, and they still have badges. They're still working, and so I think there's still
investigate them, get them.
Things to be done, the Beaches are hopeful that that's going to happen.
Beyond the financial crimes, obviously, that we know that Alec Murdaugh has admitted to a lot of them, and all of those cases are going to be coming up soon. Do you think there are other crimes that we don't even know about that will come to light?
Yes. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a whole... Didn't he mention like a whole tangled web of lies? And the judge was like, what did you mean by that or something? I feel like when he said a whole tangled web of lies, I feel like there's going to be some other shit about him that's going to come out in the next couple of years.
Well, I mean, certainly there are other financial crimes that occurred that haven't been charged. You know, at some point, I think the state just can't devote resources to, you know, not that it doesn't matter that he stole $9,700 from somebody, but they're not going to be able to prosecute every single case. So absolutely, there are other crimes, there are other financial misdeeds out there. Beyond that, I'm not sure. You know, but the one thing that I've learned through all this is don't count Alex out. If he could be involved, he probably is involved.
You obviously have a somewhat intimate knowledge of Alec Murdaugh's finances with the cases that you've had in terms of helping Mallory's family. One thing that I've wondered about is there any money left? I mean, where does the money come from now in terms of him paying lawyers, appeals, paying to defend himself?
Mark's not going to know the answer to that, but we want to know the answer to that. Where is the money coming from? Where did it come from? Where did it go?
And all of these future financial crimes. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so when in the fall of 2021, when it was apparent that Alex was beginning to hide his assets, liquidate his assets as his financial misdeeds, and in fact, when he went to jail, when he was arrested for the financial crimes, I moved the court to appoint a receiver. We took control of Alex's assets, his finances. And so those things were pretty well locked up for the benefit of the victims. And the receivers tried to marshal his assets.
He's already serving multiple life sentences. Doesn't matter if there's more, in my opinion. Well, not for the punishment of him, but to still get justice for the victims and to find out who else might have been involved, you know, if there's any other corrupt people who are involved that need to GTFO or maybe serve some, you know, prison sentences.
Yes. The answer to the question about how the lawyers are paid, I believe that they had been paid some money to represent Paul, and after his death, there was a credit given. Beyond that, Alex had a 401k that we couldn't get to with a judgment. By consent, we agreed to liquidate the 401k, and after the taxes and penalties were paid, there was some money that went to pay experts, lawyers, and then just over $300,000 that was left that went into the receiver's account.
So there's really not a lot of money left, it doesn't sound like. I mean, everyone just sort of thinks that he was this rich man and that the family has all this money, but it doesn't seem like there's much left.
Well, there's a lot of money somewhere. You know, he was turning in a lot of, he was turning everything into cash the last 3 years. And so it's hard to fathom that he could have taken all that in drugs. I don't believe it. Never have believed it. I still don't believe it. I mean, he was cashing checks for and doing something with the cash. We just haven't found it yet.
I think he buried all that money with the dirty guns and dirty clothes and stuff.
Let's hope that a lot of that money can go to the victims who he stole from. Just, you know, poor people who are in unfortunate situations. Mark Tinsley, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for watching. Go to Newsnation.
I want to know how the dogs were out. If he was at work, they were in bed. Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Sorry, I had to say it. Let me see. Let me see if I have it. Do I have the 911 call? I might, because I have not listened to it yet. Oh, here's Alec Murdaugh's caretaker. But she also was involved in raising him as well. And dude, she totally believes him. It's crazy. Do you guys see it? Somewhere around here. Murder, housekeeper. Here. Maggie Murdaugh. This one right here? 911 call. How long is the 911 call? Do you guys know? Oh, it's okay, Tam. I knew exactly what you're talking about. Is it a short 911 call or is it a long 911 call? Is this it? It's short.
911, where's your emergency?
4147 Moselle Road.
Okay, can you give me the address one more time, make sure I got it right?
Yes, 4147 Moselle Road.
Okay, what's going on out there?
I'm sorry?
What's going on out there?
My housekeeper has fallen and her head is bleeding. I cannot get her up.
Okay, you said she's fallen. She's bleeding from the head?
Yes.
Is the audio okay? It's 7 minutes. Oh, this is like a 5-minute long one. I wonder if this is like a redacted one or something. Maybe Alec had power over his family with his own daughter on them, and even the involvement with intentional. Paul's boat accident, Maggie the housekeeper, Buster the other sus death.
Okay. How old is she?
I'm not sure, like 58 maybe.
Do you know if she fell from standing or not?
No. No.
Where'd she fall from?
She fell going up the steps, up the brick steps.
Okay, so she outside or inside?
Outside.
Okay. How many steps is there?
8.
Okay, is she on the ground or is she up near the top?
She's on the ground. She's on the ground. She's on the ground.
Is she conscious?
No, not really.
Is she awake at all?
Yes.
Okay. Is she just not, like, responding appropriately, but she is awake?
Man, she's not responding.
Okay, I've already got them on the way. Me asking questions does not slow them down, man. Knowing if she's conscious is one of the things that the medic needs to know. If she's responding
Not
at
really.
all to you.
No.
Okay, so she's not responsive at all.
Well, I mean, she's mumbling.
Okay, so she is somewhat conscious. Is she breathing okay?
Yes.
Is she bleeding from anywhere?
Yes, her head.
Okay, are you guys able to control the bleeding?
No.
Can you
I
put
haven't
a
even
clean
tried.
rag or anything on it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, is she bleeding from, like, her face, the back of the head,
I've got
her
an
neck?
ambulance coming. Sir, my name what?
Where exactly is she bleeding from on her head?
I'm not sure. At the top of her head.
Okay.
Watch it.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I really sense anything weird about this phone call. There are just some people who just get kind of like irritated, and I think like sometimes they're just like, "Are you sending help or what?" Because like I think the 911 person hasn't been like, oh, "Okay, we're sending help. They're coming right now. You'll be okay," stuff like that. She's just asking questions. So I think sometimes people are just like, "Hello, are you sending help? Like, why am I answering all these fucking questions? Send help. I don't. Just give me the help. Give me the help." They just want what they want. So I don't think anything is really too suspicious with this, but I think it's kind of normal for them to ask questions, and I think it's normal for people to sometimes respond in a sassy way as well. Apparently, the dogs don't go to the house, according to Maggie's sister. Well, I do remember the dogs don't go inside the house, but they do have beds in front of the house. And so when they said that she tripped on the brick staircase, isn't that in front of the house?
What happened?
She just fell back down. Can I get off this phone so I can go down there?
Can I have your name and phone number? Or are you able to bring the phone down by her?
What?
Are you on a cell phone where you can walk down there
I'm
and
on
talk?
a cell phone. No.
Okay, can you bring it with you so we can ask her some questions about what kind of pain she's having?
Oh, so it seems like Maggie went into the house and used a house phone. Who the hell has a house phone nowadays? And then called 911. So I think Maggie just wants to get off the phone so she can go check on Gloria. Because it seems like she's like a distance away from Gloria.
Hello?
Yeah, can you ask the patient what kind of pain she's having?
Ma'am, she can't talk.
Okay, do you know...
She's cracked her head and there's blood on the concrete and she's bleeding out of her left ear.
Yeah, it sounds like she's outside, which, if the dogs were outside, that would make sense to me.
She's bleeding out of her ear?
And out of her head. She's cracked her skull.
Okay. All right. The other lady said that she had tried to stand up and fell down again.
No, I was holding her up. And
Okay.
she told me to turn her loose, and she was trying to use her arm, but then she fell back over.
Okay. Do you guys know who she?
Yeah, so if you look at the house right there, is that like the brick staircase, you think? Is that where you think she fell, in front of the house? So, I mean, it's possible that they decided to just change the story to like, oh, the dogs did it, because maybe, you know, if it's like not anyone's responsibility and it was the dogs that tripped the housekeeper, maybe it'd be easier to get the insurance money, possibly?
She is.
Yeah, she works for us.
Okay. Do you know if she's ever had a stroke or anything before?
Ma'am, can you stop asking me all these
I
questions?
already have them on the way. Me asking questions does not slow them down in any way. These are relevant questions that I have to ask for the ambulance. One of my questions is, has she ever had a stroke?
I don't believe she's ever had a stroke, now that I know
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault them for getting irritated with the 911 person. During that situation, they're just like, why are you asking me these questions? Because they don't understand.
Okay, is she able to talk to you guys at all, or is she unconscious now?
She's not unconscious, she's just mumbling.
Okay.
I believe she's maybe hit her head and maybe has a concussion or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Do you know what her name is?
Gloria Satterfield.
You said Sanderfield?
Ma'am?
You said Sanderfield?
Satterfield.
Satterfield. Okay, what's the house look like out there?
It's offset off the road.
Okay.
It's a big house, got a wide driveway.
With a long driveway?
Yeah.
Is there a gate or anything down there that they're going to need to come through?
There's two big brick columns they'll have to come through.
Okay, but there's no, like, gate code or anything that they need?
No, ma'am. And tell them that they can look for a fellow on a 6x6 Ranger.
Okay.
Waiting on them in the road is green. You know what they probably know what the Ranger looks like.
Yeah. You said, like,
Fella's
green.
got on a black sweater, a hat, and pants.
Okay. All right. If something changes with her, if she loses consciousness or anything like that, I need one of you guys to call me back right away, okay?
Okay, well, how long is it going to take? Because this take us...
That I don't know. I've had them on the way since Maggie first called me. They were toned right away.
Okay.
All right, but I think they're coming... Hang on 1 minute. Let me check. They're coming from somewhere on Bells Highway in Ruffin, okay? That's where their station is.
Thank you.
All right, but like I said, if something changes, call me back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything strange about this 911 call. I just don't see anything strange. But we'll wait until we hear more news about, you know, because apparently they're going to exhume Gloria Satterfield's body to see if there's any evidence that it might be some foul play involved or something like that. But for now, you know, okay, listen to the 911 call. I don't think it's that strange, but maybe if we have more evidence pouring in, maybe it can make the 911 call sound more weird. But I didn't really think it was that big of a deal that they're being a little bit snappy with a 911 caller or 911 call, 911 operator, because, you know, they're like, hey, are you sending help or what? Like, come on, we need help. Stop asking me questions. So I don't know. I could see their frustration. Should they be frustrated? Should they be more helpful? Yeah, sure. There was that, and then there was one more thing that someone in chat brought up. Was there anything else that I don't remember? I think that's about it, right? Let me go to my watch later. There was that. Oh, I do want to watch a little bit of the boat case trial, but not today. That will be a different day, if that's okay. We watched this one with Mallory Beach already. And then, I was going to watch this video on my own. Someone just does an examination. Their name is JD, a lawyer explains. And it's like, realistically, what are Alec Murdaugh's chances on appeal? So I was just going to watch it on the side and then see what they think. Oh, Dr. Kenny Kinsey. Oh, I did want to watch this. Oh, man. Should I watch it really quick? It's only 11 minutes
All
long.
right, well, joining me now is somebody I like to call one of the breakout stars of the Murdaugh family murders case. He is a forensics expert, Dr. Kenny Kinsey. Dr. Kinsey, good morning to you.
Oh, he is a doctor. Okay, because I wasn't sure. I was like, is it doctor? Is it professor? I don't know what to call him.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning, Miss Julie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
I don't know if this is the interview, but there was an interview that he did. I don't think it's this one, where he was basically making fun of the people that were experts for the defense. He's like, how would a bullet go this way and then just made a 180 back this way? That makes no sense.
We couldn't have been more impressed with you, and that is the truth. Just to kind of give a little rundown for our courties who love this stuff, under the big umbrella of your forensics expertise, it includes bloodstain pattern examination, crime scene investigation and reconstruction, fabric impression examination, fingerprint examination, tire tread and footwear examination, and you are qualified as an expert in both state court in South Carolina and federal court to testify as an expert witness. All this incredibly impressive. You're a heavy hitter, that's for sure, but you also seem like the nicest guy in the room, and that's really the way you came off to many trial watchers. And I'm curious, how much preparation with the prosecution team did you do to be able to go through that testimony?
Well, Miss Julie, I kind of do my testimony the same way. I've been doing it for 22 years. Of course, you learn from your mistakes, but the preparation was intense with the Attorney General's office. I attended at least weekly briefings, usually on Sunday night, Saturday or Sunday night, but the preparation was, as far as content was concerned, the preparation was intense, but I kind of did my own thing where I go and spend some time studying the defense and the attorney styles. I'm very familiar with the two top attorneys on the defense team, a little less familiar with the other two, but they're all top shelf.
Most certainly. The advocacy was excellent on both sides, no question about it. I want to play a clip for you now, Dr. Kinsey. One of the moments that I like to say was a tip the scales of justice moment.
I don't know if this is the interview that I'm thinking of. There's the other interview I was watching where, oh my God, he was like,
as part of your redirect.
He was like, I had people reaching out to me and they even agreed with me. They were like, there's no way a bullet's gonna be like 180 like that.
Examination with the Attorney General, that demonstration that you did. Let's watch it back together now.
The defense agreed with the assessment that Paul stood there for a moment, bleeding down his injured left arm, and he slowly walked toward the door.
Okay, and what does the shooter do?
The shooter's coming in the door.
Yep, and thank God they took the jury, even though it was the defense that wanted to do it. Thank God the defense wanted to take the jury to the feed room, because like when the jury got there, they were like, yeah, that feed room was tiny.
And then what does the shooter do?
He shoots Paul in the back of the head after he passes him.
Okay, and then shoots Paul in the back of the head like this, and where does the blood spatter go?
The blood spatter, the pellet defects, and one that I didn't know about that the expert collected was in the door frame at the top of the door.
Without question, that was a standout moment in this trial. Curious, Dr. Kinsey, whose idea was it to do the demonstration in the doorway?
I have to give full credit to Mr. Allen Wilson. He wanted to reverse it. He wanted me to put the weapon to the back of his head, but he's taller. And it was his idea, and I told him, I said, look, I believe I can, I'm a little bit more compact, closer to the ground. I believe I can get down in that position better, and it'll be a better visual effect if you point the gun to the back of my head.
Sure, a smart move.
Oh, okay, sorry. It was actually this interview right here.
I mean, you seem like a pretty cool cucumber. You've done
this one.
McCullough. They used to be all law part of the trial. Yeah, very fun. At law, whirling about town here in
in a big wheel, but I'm so awfully proud of those jurors and the men and women that have devoted a year and a half of their life to this case, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity to get the help.
Obviously, the jury believed you. They did not believe Alec Murdaugh. They seem to really be engaged with your testimony. You've been doing this a really long time. Why were you so certain that this was not a contact wound?
Well, I looked at everything, and not that I can't be wrong, but I'm not going to go in there and give results that I know are wrong. And it was too many variables. I know it was mentioned that variables wasn't important. There was too many variables. I understand firearms and I understand components of firearms, and I know that, you know, one stray pellet maybe, 2 to 3 stray pellets. No, it's not going to happen. And you just look at physics. We got some lessons in physics this past 2 weeks.
We sure did.
But physics doesn't work that way. And I have comrades and cohorts all over the country that was calling me, and just a mere thought that projectiles moving that fast could turn around and go 180 degrees the other direction with enough velocity to not only leave a defect but to penetrate. It was just unbelievable.
Were you ever nervous at all during this whole process? I mean, you seem like a pretty cool cucumber.
Okay, I'll go back to this one.
Tell me, how many times did you guys practice this before the trial?
We practiced it about 5 minutes before the testimony.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. Okay. That's great. And how about the decision to ask the court to have the bailiff open up the door so that you could have some extra room? Was that a last-minute decision?
It was, but the mechanics of the door.
I also want to bring this up. I also do think it's a good idea to have the 911 operators keep the person on the phone just in case it's the person who caused the accident, the harm or whatever. That way you can make sure, you can get their story now and then compare it to what they say to law enforcement later on. So just in case that was the issue.
Operated the same way as the door at Moselle, although it was a little bit deeper, the threshold. So the visual effect we thought would be pretty close. So Mr. Wilson asked one of the courtroom attendants if we could open the door.
It was such a great moment because it really, as you know, Dr. Kinsey, allowed these jurors to have a better picture of how Paul was shot and killed, or how he was not shot and killed. I mean, you really debunked the defense theory with that demonstration right there. And with you looking at so much evidence that the public wasn't able to see, right? We couldn't see everything that the jury saw. Certain exhibits under seal for good reason. The sheer brutality of this is heart-wrenching. Talk to us, please, on a human level. Not the
Yeah, I can't wait for the Hulu movie to come out. Do you know when that's slated to come out? So Tam Jewell said, Murdaugh Murders podcasters won an award for their investigative journalism. AM fact-based study for 4 years, been accessing all the information in South Carolina and helping making the cases and material coming Hulu movie. So I can't wait to watch that.
Expert witness in you know, the talk to the jury, but just as a human being.
I haven't seen the HBO one yet, though, but I don't know if I want to watch an HBO one yet. I feel like I'm a little bit Murdaugh'd out. I can take it in small doses here and there, but I already finished the Netflix documentary.
Looking at how these other two human beings were killed, how did that make you feel going through all of that evidence?
Oh, you're listening to it now, David. Are there any other information that was like key that they shared that wasn't covered in the trial that you guys know?
Please.
Ms. Julie, you have to separate the evidence from that human side, but we are still human, and many of us are parents. I'm a parent, and it is heartbreaking to think about the final moments and the actual activity of this scene. As I've mentioned, this scene was chaotic. It was very, very fluid, a lot of movement, and that helped us determine that Paul was shot first. The sequencing was very easy, but we figured out that Paul was shot first because he was a very capable young man, and had his mother been shot first, he certainly would have come to her aid. Now, the other side of that coin is we heard several times in the trial that Miss Maggie Murdaugh was shot running away, and there could be nothing, according to my investigation, my reconstruction, and my opinion, there could be nothing farther from the truth. Her head was positioned toward Paul, a short distance away, and that helped because I believe the jurors got to actually see the layout and the depth. Because even though it's a huge place, it was really, these crimes were compact, but it was a lot of movement. It was very disorganized, and that tells us that Paul was the first victim, and then Miss Maggie Murdaugh was running to her son.
Just like Creighton Waters said in close, running to her baby. That was another one of those big moments that really underscored what you had shown the jury on the witness stand. And then when he had time to argue it, it really put an exclamation point on that legal theory of the case. And I know that in your position, when you're being brought in as an expert, you have to very closely assess the other side. What were the things that stuck out to you, please, Dr. Kinsey, that were favorable for the defense at the crime scene?
Well, at the crime scene itself, I didn't find that much favorable because you definitely had access. The defendant had access. It's very, very secluded. Ms. Julie, in my experience, a hit team, or whether it be drug dealers or organized crime, they don't come to a scene expecting there to be weapons there waiting on them.
Yeah, that story just really falls apart. Like I said, like if other guns were used and not like, you know, the family guns, like maybe we could have entertained that, but like, okay, here's the thing. Because when they were saying, like, oh, well, someone else was on the scene and SLED, they were so incompetent that they didn't look at other footprints. They didn't preserve them very well. They didn't look at other tire tracks. They didn't preserve them very well. But it's like, let's go with that. Even if there was footprints and tire tracks and stuff like that. But like, if you were to go with their version of the story, it's like, well, it's kind of weird to have people show up during this very small time frame. Like, how would they expect Paul to be there? Why shoot Maggie too? And then why not bring their own guns? Like, I don't know. That story just really falls apart.
It is very, very secluded. It would be much easier in my mind if I targeted any of those victims to catch them away from there. You got to know so many variables to know that Miss Maggie and Paul.
Yeah, and it's not like they were following like, oh, the schedule or anything. Like, you know, this was their daily routine. Paul wasn't even at Moselle for, I think, like the weekend, right? Because he was like at his friend's house.
Or at that kennel. You've got to have access in, access out. I didn't see a lot favorable to the
Oh, is this the old kennel room?
defendant at the scene.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, that is.
Dr. Kinsey, tell us, is there anything that you wish you could have said up on the witness stand but couldn't, maybe because of a pretrial ruling, something being off limits, or something that you wish you could have told the jury but you weren't allowed to?
Good question, Julie. I like that.
Well, I've gotten a lot of praise for it. Sometimes it can be a detriment. I am a parent, and I feel for everybody involved. There's no winners in this situation. Even with the guilty verdict, there's still no winners. There's definitely a void in that Murdaugh family. And sometimes you just want to express, I'm taking it where the evidence goes, but I still feel for your family. You have to get up there and you definitely have to tell your story, and you try to tell it as accurately as you know it to the jurors, but you still want an emotional connection with that family to let them know that you're doing your job. And sometimes the victims are forgotten, and you know, especially in high profile cases, sometimes the victims are forgotten. But I was there, you know, being compensated by the Attorney General's office, but I was there working for the victims. And sometimes you want to reach out, you can't reach out. And, you know, certain rules, as you said, decorum, and some of the little details that don't make it into court, or for whatever reasons, you like to throw those in. And that's sometimes I tell them, the funny moments are not making light of the situation, because it's as bad as it gets. But sometimes those funny moments are just to show your teeth just a little bit, because I'm going to be nice regardless of how I'm treated. You're showing your teeth just a little bit, so you're telling that defense attorney, you know, you can take it here, but you don't know what I'm going to say, because the judge is going to allow me to explain my answer. And sometimes that can be dangerous.
Appreciate it so much. Really just emphasizing the importance of these two victims and their lives being lost. A really great way for us to end this interview with you, Dr. Kinsey, because that is what it is all about, these victims and justice for Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. Dr. Kinsey, I could really speak to you all day. Our viewers just love you.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job. I think he did a really good job. I think Dr. Reamer did a really good job too. I know people were hating on her, but I thought she did a really good job.
We would love it if sometime, I know you're a busy guy, we would love to have you come back on as an expert analyst, if you would.
Yes. Come back.
It would be the thrill of my life.
Please pay him more, because remember how they were like, Dr. Kinsey, how much are you being paid? He was like, oh, like, what was it again, like 150 or 100 an hour or something like that. How much are the experts that are hired paid? Oh man, they're getting paid like $350 an hour plus. So someone pay this guy more money, please.
Miss Julie, I'm a big fan. Thank you.
We're going to hold you to that. Dr. Kenny Kinsey, thank you kindly for being with us. Get some rest after all that work at trial. We'll see you soon.
See you, doctor. Oh, sorry. This is my watch later. I've been, it's true crime and gardening. That's on my feed right now. I think my YouTube algorithm's like really confused. It's like, damn, what does this bitch want? Does she want like murder? Does she want true crime stuff? Or she want gardening stuff? It's just a hot mess right now. Harpootlian makes $6.50 an hour. I don't remember hearing that, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Do you think he's gonna do the appeal stuff pro bono? Interesting point about maybe him selling drugs. Wait, what did Rain say? Oh, I have been thinking about this since we've been speculating that Alex was probably selling drugs to people. What if he has big names? Could be the source of his money for keeping his mouth shut. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people were starting to explore the whole drug smuggling, drug dealing thing, because they're just like, why is he giving Cousin Eddie so much money? I think at some point he transferred Cousin Eddie like $500,000 or something. But do I think he's made any new best friends yet? At this point right now, I think he's awaiting. So he's not at the prison yet. I think they have to process him. They shaved his hair. They have to process him, and then they ship him to whatever correction facilities he's supposed to go. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When you're in prison, you have no one else, right? So you gotta try to make some friends somehow. Offshore accounts. Yeah, because Mark Tinsley did say that, like, 3 years before, I guess, the murders happened, Alex has been cashing his money. And they don't know where the money is. They got to track it down. Donate to his political funds. I can't imagine how Poot feels about having to continue with all the appeals and not getting more money. I don't know. What I think is I can't... Oh, wait. Okay, before I go, can we watch one last one? We haven't heard from Jim in a while. Jim does an interview, and I feel like Jim's at the point where he's just like forced to say what he has to say for his client, but I just don't feel like he believes it. Like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like Jim just right now just feels ridiculous saying certain things, but he has to say it because it's his client. Let me see if we could find it. Did I watch it this morning? Oh God, Alex. Oh, here it is. Quick one. Before we go. Alec Murdaugh so faces over 100 charges. What's next for the family murderer? Yikes. Let me see if I can find the interview with Jim. Who missed Jim? One in chat if you missed Jim. Two in chat if you're like, nah. Oh, where is Jim? Oh, Jim is over here. Jim. There you are. Jim. Okay.
Griffin worked very closely with Dick Harpootlian, often cross-examining some witnesses, walking others through evidence. He also delivered the closing argument for the defense.
I don't know why Law and Crime, their videos are just so... Their volume is just low. I don't know why. Okay, I'm turning it up a little bit.
Griffin says that the defense plans to appeal the verdict on the grounds that the financial crimes evidence should never have been allowed in. They maintain it was way too prejudicial. During a segment on News Nation...
Hold on a second. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. Okay, how about now?
Chris Cuomo asked Griffin, who they thought was behind the killings, if Murdaugh didn't do it.
Certainly, if we had proof of who did it, we would come forward with it. So we did not have any credible evidence of other people who may have committed these murders. I mean, the reason we didn't have it is because
my client did it. That's the reason why we didn't have it. Okay, sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Jim. You're in the limelight.
State really didn't look beyond Alec, other than the individuals that were directly involved in the voting acts, in which which, you know,
It was the boating people, y'all.
frankly, Alec told him that night. I don't believe it was the individuals directly involved in the boating accident. At that time,
I don't think he specified that. I think he said it was the boating people. You know, he's been getting threats and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did specify that later. And then I didn't watch the entire body cam footage thing. I just remember him saying that, like, oh, it was a boating incident. Paul's been getting harassed, punched, blah, 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 blah. To me, I thought that he was insinuating it was people that Paul had hurt during the boating incident. So, you know, whether it was like people that knew Mallory Beach or the friends that were on that boat or the people that they were trying to frame.
thought that it was some deranged person who heard or viewed or was in contact with all this negative chatter about Paul not getting justice because he's a privileged kid and that took it upon himself. Whether that is ultimately what occurred or not, I mean, we just didn't have the information to go there. We don't have the power of subpoena. We don't have the power of search warrants. We can't subpoena cell phone records. And so we were limited.
All right. I'm joined by my co-host.
That's it. That's all we get from Jim. I think. Does he say anything else? I don't know. I just feel like Jim just seems so defeated at this point. He's just like, oh, I can't believe I have to recite my client's lies, but shit, this is what lawyers got to do, man. That's what you got to do sometimes. Hey, Jules, how are you doing today? There were randos according to... Wait, in her scenario, why did she talk about randos again? Oh, because she said randos on Twitter showed up to testify against her, right? I forgot about that. And then people were like, how are you going to call Kate Moss a rando? Hey, everyone. What's going on? Alex is going to pledge to pay all the money back he stole. Oh, my God, guys, shut up. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for popping in. I do enjoy streaming here with you guys. I'm going to go play video games and go chill. So I enjoyed having you guys here for the YouTube streams. If there's any more updates or anything, feel free to send it over my way on Discord. We have a true crime section. And then other than that, I'll see you guys later. All right. I'm going to go stream on Twitch. If gaming is your thing, feel free to stop by, say hi. Other than that, like I said, I'll keep an eye for anything new that pops up. Oh, is that a cute little kitty cat popping up on my feed? Leela Love, thank you so much for the 2. I appreciate that. Is that your cat? Dude, we've been watching the security cams, and we had crows coming in. I don't know what they were doing. I hope they're not building a little nest underneath the little outdoor area. And then we had like this cat that was like messing with the trees that we bought. And then this other cat that came through. And then, like I said, in the front yard right now, we got holes in our yard. So I put a little carrot out there to see if whatever making holes in my yard, if he's going to eat the carrot. But then he made another hole elsewhere. I don't know what he's eating, though. I'm trying to figure out what this guy's like coming to my yard for. Like, what is he eating? And then, I planted sage. My sage is getting demolished. I don't know what's going on, but there's like tiny little bug holes everywhere. Like, so I don't know, man. It's some crazy stuff. The Boone trial, is that Sarah Boone? Sarah Boone. Oh, who was Sarah Boone again? Sarah Boone. I think. You know what? I did want to watch the Sarah Boone body cam footage. I have it saved in my watch later. She's the one that's like, is she accused of murdering her husband, boyfriend, or something? And then there was like I don't know. I just remember seeing like something about that. But perhaps. Ladybugs? Oh, but ladybugs are cool though. What should I leave out for ladybugs so they can eat that instead? Because I don't want to kill ladybugs. Do they like to eat something else I could leave out there? Some blood meal on your... Oh, is blood meal the same thing as bloodworm? I have bloodworms, dried up bloodworms that I used to give to my snails. Around your plants to keep the critters away. Wait, blood meal. Is blood meal and bloodworms the same thing? Remember, Alex said there's 2 shooters for his roadside shooting. This case, Alex said 2 shooters. See a theme? No, I think the roadside shooting, he said it was only a 1 shooter. I don't think he mentioned there was 2 shooters for that one. He like even gave a sketch... which is so embarrassing too. Actually goes through the motions of sitting down with someone, making a composite sketch of an imaginary person. Like, dude, that is just... Oh, it's not the same thing? Plant African basil. It blossoms like crazy and feeds thousands of bees. And then you can use them as basil's herbs, of course. She locked her what? She locked her boyfriend in a suitcase. Ooh, yeah. I'll take a look into that because there is this body cam footage. I love watching body cam footages. I think I have it around here somewhere. Let me see. Or it might be my true crime playlist. Is it this one? Pretty sure I put it here. Oh, here it is. Police grill accused murderer Sarah Boone the morning after her boyfriend died. Full video. This one, right? Yeah.
I fell asleep. When did you do CPR?
Oh God. Yeah. We can watch this. We'll watch this. What day is today? Do you guys want to watch it this week? I just love watching interrogation videos, body cam footages, because I just like seeing their raw emotions, I guess. Not like the ones where, you know, when you go to a courtroom, there's like, they get questioned and all that. But I love watching this. Just love seeing their reaction. But she's... When is her trial? When is her trial supposed to be happening? Blood meal keeps the small animals away and deers. Okay, I just don't want to put anything that's going to kill them. Yeah, like I like snails, I like slugs and all those cool dooders. So I used to have snails for pets and then they all died. Too sad. It's a crazy case. Alter egos. Oh, and then there is also, so I want to watch this, and if you guys are interested, JC has put out this. Do you guys know who Grand Amato is? I've always wanted to cover the Grand Amato case, but I just haven't had time. JC has finally pushed out a video about Grand Amato, and dude, that dude is wild. He apparently had this. There was this. I don't know if she was like an OnlyFans girl or she was just like an online girl, but she was like an online girl, maybe like a streamer or something like that. But he was giving her like tons of money. And what he was doing, he was stealing money from his family. And apparently he stole over like $200K, which I don't know how he even had access to that much money. But he apparently stole like over $200K, gave it to this girl. And then when the family, I think the family contacted the girl and was like, oh my God, like my son's stealing money and giving all the money to you. She like tried to cut ties with him or something like that. And I think the guy went crazy and he ends up murdering like his family. Like, and then like when they're interrogating him, he talks about anime and then like online like culture. I don't know. It's like such a bizarre police interrogation. And JCS made a video about that, so we should watch it sometime together. She was a streamer. Okay, she was a streamer on my free cams. Yeah, that was wild. Like the interrogation was wild, the story was wild, everything surrounding that. It's just crazy. So we should definitely watch that sometime. I could recommend. Oh yeah, Joe, can you? Are you in my Discord? If you're not in my Discord, I don't know if the link's gonna work in here. OnlyFans creators are nuts. Not that I go in there, but some stars are bizarre. Well, again, like there are just a small group of people that are probably like part of OnlyFans that are crazy, right? I actually have friends that are OnlyFans people, but yeah. Anyone can be nuts, okay? Anyone. The case starts in April, made delayed because she's so whack and fires her lawyers. Was she doing public attorneys? The suitcase murder is awful. Dude, there's this one disturbing one, and I think the girl's like out of jail. But she was like a teenager, I think. So she's a teenager. Her and her mom go on vacation to, I think, like, was it Indonesia or something like that, or Malaysia? Somewhere in the beach area. And then she didn't tell her mom, but she invited her boyfriend to the trip. So the boyfriend shows up, and the two of them kill the mom, stuff the body in the suitcase, and she gets arrested and all that. But I think she only served like, is it like 4 to 8 years in prison in Indonesia or Malaysia or whatever? And then like, I don't know if they ever, I don't know, that case was wild because I don't think she served that much time. They were lenient on her because she was a minor, and I think she might be out of jail now, but I don't know if they're going to, extradite her over to like the US and have a whole new trial over here. I don't know if they will, or if she's just in Indonesia or Malaysia or whatever. But then she also had like a child in prison as well. I don't know. I don't know. Have you guys heard about that one? That one was like really wild. I forgot which true crime channel covered that one. Lazy Masquerade. Oh, we watched a Lazy Masquerade video for the first time yesterday. Yeah. It was about Abby Choi. Dude, that one was crazy. You mean I can make up to 200K on MFC? You're about to do some research. Yeah, have fun. Donate lots of money to me. Thank you. Charlie Adelson starts in March. I don't know who that is. Pickled cinnamon bun sounds disgusting. Well, all right, y'all. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being here. Oh, be cool. Thank you so much for the $1.99. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I was talking so much that I didn't even see that. Thank you for the $1.99. I really do appreciate it. And thank you. That's so sweet. I think slugs are just homeless snails. Nice. You posted in Discord? Yay! Thank you. Again, guys, feel free to join Discord if you like. Discord is just a big chat room for our community, kind of. And we have a true crime section. If you have any recommendations, if anything new comes up about the Murdaugh stuff, feel free to post it in there and we'll talk about it on stream. But other than that, I'm going to end my YouTube stream. I'm going to go stream on Twitch, play some video games, and thank you so much for hanging out. If you guys missed some parts of the stream, don't worry. I'm going to make this entire stream live. But if you only want to listen to like certain segments, I usually will chop up the video for you guys. All right, y'all? Thank you so much for hanging out. I will see y'all later. Oh, you're learning how to Discord? Discord's really cool. It's an easy way to communicate with coworkers, too. If your coworkers use Discord, you know, family, friends, stuff like that, you can post pictures and all that. So I really like it. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you later. Bye. And end the stream.